Hey everyone, it's Jessie. So today I'm going to show you how to make a simple, beginner-friendly pumpkin. For the supplies, you'll need some yarn, a yarn hook, a tape measure, and if you don't have a tape measure on hand, that's totally fine. I'll show you later in the video how you can measure it out without that. And you'll need a cinnamon stick, a yarn needle, a pair of scissors, some polyfill, and if you don't have that on hand, you can use scraps of yarn, and some twine. For the yarn, I'll be using Yarn Bee Soft Stitch in the color Oatmeal. This skein has 210 yards, definitely enough to make more than one pumpkin, and it's 100% acrylic and a 4 medium. It recommends a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and that's what we'll be using today. We'll want to leave a little bit of a tail because we're going to be sewing the end of our pumpkin with that. For our pumpkin, we are going to chain 21 chains. If you want your pumpkin to be a little bit smaller, you can make less chains, or if you want it larger, go ahead and make more chains. So once you've made your 21 chains, meet me back here. Now that we have our 21 chains, we're going to take that chain and we're going to flip it around. You'll see these back loops on the back side, and you can see here that this is our first back loop and this is our second back loop. We are going to be doing a half double crochet into that second back loop. So you want to yarn over, put your hook through that back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And then we'll go into the next back loop, yarn over, put our hook through there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And again, yarn over, put our hook through that back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now you're going to continue that and do a half double crochet all the way across this row into every back loop. Once you're at the end of the row, meet me back here. So at the end of every row and every row going forward, you'll want to count these V stitches and make sure that you have 20 stitches. Now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and now we'll do a half double crochet into the back loops. Here's the chain 1 we did. We're not going to count that one. We're going to go into the next stitch here. So what you want to do is yarn over, and we're going to go into only that back loop. And then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we're going to do that again. Yarn over, go into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So go ahead and continue doing half double crochets into the back loop only all across this row. And once you're done, meet me back here. And now we'll chain 1 and turn our work, and now we'll yarn over, go into the back loop only, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So we're doing the exact same thing in this row. Half double crochets into that back loop only all the way across. Once you're at the end of the row, meet me back here. Chain 1 and turn your work. Yarn over, go into this first stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3. So this is what you'll be doing for the entire length of the pumpkin. So you'll continue doing half double crochets into the back loops only for every row, and when you get to the end of your row, you're going to always chain 1 and then turn your work. And just to quickly show you what that will look like when you're done, this is what it will look like. It'll be like a rectangle. So you want to crochet till about 27 rows or until you hit about 11 inches. Now another way, if you don't want to count rows or you don't want to measure, another easy way to figure that out is by taking the corner here, folding it down, and then you'll take this and you'll flip it this way. Now when this corner, if this corner matches the end of this row, then you have it the perfect size. So once you get your pumpkin to the length that you need, meet me back here. Okay, so once you have the length that you need and you're on your last row, let's just pull the hook a little bit so we leave a loop. And then you'll take the width here and match it up with the width down here. And then pick it up this way. So you'll have the tail end of your yarn here and you'll have your loop here. So now we'll put our crochet hook back into that loop and chain 1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to line up these V's across from each other and we're going to do some slip stitches. This chain was our chain 1, that does not count. So we're going to put our hook into that first V and then into the second V. So all the way across, yarn over, pull through all of those loops, and then we're going to pull through the loop on our hook. Okay, so we'll do that again. We'll go into our first V here and then into our second, yarn over, pull through all of those, and then we're going to pull through the loop on our hook. So you'll just continue that all the way to the end of your row. So, and when you're done with that, meet me back here. And now we're going to chain 1 and we are going to leave a long tail before we cut this off. So you'll want to leave a really long tail and then you'll pull the yarn through that loop and then pull that snug. And now you'll want to grab your yarn needle. We're going to take the shorter tail that we have here, not the long one we just did, but the shorter tail, and put your yarn through there. And we're going to sew up the bottom of our pumpkin. We're going to put our yarn needle towards the top. We're going to put the yarn needle in, and then we're going to put it back out. And we're going to weave it back and forth. And every once in a while you can kind of pull it, and then just continue to weave in and out of the yarn. Once you get all the way around to where you started, meet me back here. Okay, so once you get back around the circle here, we're going to take this yarn that's on our yarn needle. We're going to pull it until we close the circle shut. And then what we're going to do to close it up even more is we're going to take our yarn needle and we're going to put it through to the other side of that circle. And now I'm going to go from this side to the other side of that hole or circle. So it doesn't matter where you place your yarn needle, you just want to go back and forth across the circle to kind of join the ends and close up that bottom. Okay, so once you get the bottom to how you like it and closed up nicely, then you'll take your needle and put it through the bottom of the pumpkin and up through the middle here. And now you can either weave the yarn in back and forth, or you can do what I do here, and we're just going to tie a knot. So you'll take your yarn needle and put it through some of those strands of yarn. And don't pull it all the way through because we want to leave a loop here. We're going to go back through this loop. And then you're going to pull that tight. Now you can take your yarn needle off. And you can just, you don't need to snip this or anything. You can just leave that inside since that's the inside of our pumpkin. And now it's time to stuff our pumpkin with the polyfill. So you just continue to fill it up with the polyfill until you get it to where you like it. And I think mine's pretty good about there. So now what you want to do is take the tail end of your other yarn and we're going to take our yarn needle and put that yarn through there again. And now we're going to do what we did before. So we are going to take our yarn needle and we're going to put it through some of the yarn and we're going to weave it back and forth. So go ahead and continue to weave your yarn needle in and out until you get all the way around to the beginning where you started, and then meet me back here. Okay, now that you've gone all the way around, what we're going to do is take the yarn here and we're going to pull that. Keep pulling. And we want to leave a little bit of a hole at the top for our cinnamon stick. So just kind of put your finger there and keep pulling. And actually another thing that you can do is grab your cinnamon stick, and if you need to trim it or want to trim it at all, you can do that. Put it in there and then pull that yarn tight around, just to give us an idea of how big we want that hole to be. And then take that back out. Then what I like to do is kind of take the needle, put it through some strands of yarn right next to that. So pull this until you have a little bit of a loop here. Take your yarn needle, put it through that loop, and then pull that tight. So that helps make it a little more secure, so that way our hole stays where we'd like it. So at this point, if you wanted to leave your pumpkin just like this and sew in your yarn and be done with it, that is totally fine. But what I like to do is kind of shape the pumpkin a little bit more. So I'm going to bring the yarn down in between the texture here. And then take the needle, put it through the bottom. I think I'll put it through just a little bit more, kind of through the whole bottom there, just to secure it a little bit. And then we're going to bring it up and around to the top. Now you can pull this yarn as tight as you'd like to get that pumpkin shape. We're going to do it one more time on the other side too. So pull it as tight as you'd like it. And then we're going to hold it with our thumb and then put your yarn needle through the yarn here towards the circle. And then we're going to do that one more time. What we're going to do this time is leave that loop, so don't pull it all the way shut. Take your needle, put it through that loop, and then pull that tight. And now we're going to go and do the same thing on the other side. I think probably about right here. So take your yarn needle, put it through some of those strands to bring it over to the other side. And now we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to take the yarn, pull it down, and at the bottom here we're going to stick the yarn needle through the bottom, pull that a little tight, and then we're going to come up and around to the top of our pumpkin. And take the yarn needle and put it through near that circle. You may need to shape your pumpkin a little bit as you're making it. So pull that, and then we're going to put our yarn needle through the top again. And not all the way, we want to leave that loop and put our needle through that loop. And then pull tight. If you wanted to secure your pumpkin a little bit more, you can do that one more time. Put your needle through, leave a little loop, put your needle through that loop, and then pull tight. So now what you can do is take the yarn out of your needle, and we can snip this a little bit. I like to leave a little bit of a tail because I'm going to tuck that into that circle or into that hole there. You can just take that, just tuck it under there. Now you can grab your cinnamon stick and stick that in there. If you'd like to take a hot glue gun to secure that in there, you can, or you can leave it unglued to take it out for easy storage, which is what I think I will do. And this is where you can take your twine and you can tie a cute little bow. And now we've made an adorable little pumpkin. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.